So the next knife is, let's go for this guy right here. This one is for Andrew Balthazar. Andrew Balthazar. Just finished it yesterday. Chocolate brown EDC sheath for the JX4. It feather sticks well. You can even baton with it. I love the belly. It takes a lot of practice, not a lot, but it takes more practice to get control of a knife with a belly when you're feather sticking or notching or whatever, especially feather sticking. A lot of guys have problems with feather sticking. If you want to learn how to feather stick, learn with a Mora. Learn with a Mora and start from there. That's what I suggest. But this is a beautiful knife. The JX4 Bush bat. It's comfortable, very comfortable, especially when you put your finger through the ring. These Kydex pretty well, I think. The Ricasso is real thin. That's where you get the retention. But I got a way that I form the Kydex around that Ricasso so that I get really good retention out of these and a decent click. I mean, that thing's in there to stay. It's not coming out. This one is so firm a retention, it doesn't even need a combat lock. I do have the combat scallops in it. Those combat scallops allow you to almost get your whole hand around that handle for drawing so that it's in the same place when you draw it as it is when you're using it. So if you need to pull it quick and use it, you can, generally. You got about a 1/4 inch there that you can't get into, but it's Kydex. There it is. He wanted a face mount ferro rod on it. Coyote brown tech lock. You can position this 4 different ways on this sheath. 4 different ways. Very stable, very comfortable to carry. The JX4 Bush bat, I do a lot of these. Probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 a week. This one is some type of, it looks like wood, but it's blue. So, I don't know. Could be that tough stuff, maybe. But pretty handles, blue and gray, and looks like a marble, you know. Pretty knife. It is definitely a unique looking knife. Definitely unique. So I think Chris Tanner did a great job on the design. Just the handle, I think it'd be a little fatter. He doesn't think so. And that's good. That's cool. If he doesn't think so, it fits in his hand, and it fits in the majority of the hands of the guys that are using them, great. Just my opinion. That's all. Here we go. Here's a different micarta handled Tops Bob. This is a very popular knife for bushcrafting. The Tops Brothers of Bushcraft. Very nice knife. Not too heavy. I don't like knives that are heavy either. This Delta Whiskey Backcountry is not a heavy knife for what it is. Because it's made out of CPM 3V. It's just not that heavy. It looks heavy when you're looking at it. Looks like this thing should weigh 1.5 pounds. I think it probably weighs about 1 pound, if that. I've never weighed one because it just feels good in my hand to use, especially when you choke up on it. It's got great balance, so you're neutral when it comes to that balance point as to whether you want to dig in with the blade or you're doing something with the handle. Okay, so you know, pounding nuts or whatever. It's got a nice pommel on the back. I put a lot of thought into this design, and intentionally letting it go on its own merit. I want guys to see it for themselves. I want guys to spread the word, and I'm curious to see how fast it goes, because I think this is going to be popular. I think it is. I got a couple of things that I may do with this knife. I am designing a smaller version of it, a different type. I just haven't decided who I'm going to have build it yet. But it's going to have kind of less of a belly and a smaller handle. It's not going to be as heavy. It's going to be a medium-sized, use all the time bushcraft knife. So, and it's going to be a smaller knife with a choke-up choil, because everybody knows how much leverage you get with a choke-up choil on any size knife. You really get a lot of leverage on it if you need to work with the tip of the blade or whatever. This one turns it into a 3-inch knife or 3.5-inch knife. But the next one, is what did I name it? The Delta Whiskey Infinity is the name of the knife. Is going to turn it into like a 1-inch knife with your finger all the way up on the spine and your forefinger in the choke-up choil. It's going to turn it into like a 1 or 2-inch knife. So a lot of control with a choke-up choil. That's why I put it in there. What else? I got my Peter Kohler Tavi. Peter Kohler Tavi. This is one of my favorite neckers. This is a really light, really tough W2 steel knife. Looks like 5/32, between 1/8 and 5/32. Curly birch handles to match. He made it to match my Bushcrafter. So just different shades of the same kind of wood. But this one feather sticks great as long as you put the right edge on it. Like I said, the grind of the knife is not as important as the actual edge that you put on it. The edge is what's going to do the cutting for you, not the grind. In my opinion, I can take any grind, put the right edge on it, and it's going to work consistently, knife to knife to knife to knife, because of the edge. Now, the steels may be thicker or thinner. You know, there's a lot of different variables here, but it is the edge that does the cutting. So I've always believed that more so it's the edge, not the grind of the knife. You can have a flat grind, a Scandi grind, a saber grind, convex grind, but if that edge isn't right, you can forget it. It ain't cutting shit. So, or it's not going to work well for you if it doesn't have the right edge on it that you're used to. I'm used to this low shoulder convex edge that I put on my knives, and I can get the best performance out of it of any other edge. This is a bastard file knife by Anza. This is one of my urban EDC knives. It's got a huge handle. That's important to me. Proper grip on a knife is important to me. If that handle is uncomfortable or it's too short, I'm not using the knife. I don't care who designs it. God himself could design the knife. If the handle's really short and it's not comfortable in my hand, I'm not using it. And that's, when it comes to knife designers, some guys are on the right page and some guys are not so much on the right page. That handle's got to be right for a majority of people. If it's not, you're not going to sell that knife, you know, if it's not comfortable. It's not going to sell well. That, you know, it's going to be dead in the water right there. So that's a necker I usually wear. Here's another one. This is my favorite personal protection knife around town. This is an Eck, John Eck. He was a knife builder around the Korean era and Vietnam. He came into his heyday in like the 70s. John Eck, I believe his brother's running the company now. This is what all Special Forces operators, a lot of them, were carrying back in the 70s and 80s. these knives. Just over the top when it comes to, and I'm nostalgic when it comes to this knife. So this is my personal protection knife, you know, that I wear around town. And I still keep it in its original leather sheath. I could make a Kydex sheath for it, but just like all the other guys, when it comes to a knife like this, I like leather. And I'm only wearing, if I was wearing this in the bush, you bet your ass it would be in Kydex. You bet your ass on it. Okay, here's another one, Benchmade. Now this is made by Benchmade. Benchmade, right? Hold on. You know, I always get Benchmade and Bench... Yeah, Benchmade. The other one, Benchmark. I get them confused. Lone Wolf Knives, I'm pretty sure, consigned this knife from Benchmade to be made for them. This is a decent little knife. Real thin stock. I believe it's stainless. It's got a hollow grind. Some guys like hollow grinds. I'm not too keen on them, but remember what I said about the edge. It's not so much the grind of the knife, it's the edge of the knife that does the cutting. That's got to be right. I really don't get too much into the grind of it. You know, you could take... I already said it. Anyway, that's a nice little knife. This has got like a craton, green craton handle, hard rubber. Very comfortable. This is a nice little knife. I think you can buy them on eBay for, I don't know, $30 or whatever. Okay. I'm looking for something else to show you. Here. This is a sorely underused knife. A lot of guys don't know about this. This is the Boker Rolled. The Boker Rolled. It's what I call an all-around knife. It's a bushcrafter. It's a utility. It's a combat. It's a fighter. You can do pretty much anything. It's got a nice choke-up choil for choking up. Put your thumb up on that spine, forefinger in the choil, and this becomes a 3-inch knife. Okay? For all intents and purposes. It's got a flat grind, 3/16. Now I ground the spine down to be a 90 degree. I don't think it comes with one though. G10 scales, red liners. I tell you, the handle is extremely ergonomic, very comfortable. I can't say enough about this knife. D2 tool steel. It's between a high carbon and a stainless. It's like a hybrid steel. In its own right, very strong. Makes a capable knife, just like O1 or A2 or 1095. They're all good steels. I'm not knocking any of them. I have knives made out of every steel conceivable. Pretty much. I did put a bow drill divot in this one. I carried this one for a long time in the field. It's got these two pass-through holes. If, you know, there's only one reason I can think of to lash your knife to a stick. And it could happen. You might want to do it. That's if you're being in an area, if you're in an area where attack is imminent from a bear or a cougar. This gives you a lot of reach on the end of a spear. You're not going to lose that knife to that animal. He's not going to take your knife. It's not going to happen. So you can get a lot of reach out of it if you lash it to, you know, a 4 or 5 foot, 6 foot stick. And, you know, as a spear, as a poker, just to defend yourself, I can see that happening. There might be a couple other circumstances where you might want to do it, but that's one I can think of. I put a dedicated ferro rod divot here. The thumb jimping on this is pretty mild. Pretty mild. So if you're looking for a really nice production knife that you're not going to spend over $100 on, I'm telling you, this knife is badass. Badass for the money. There are better knives out there, better steels, better designs. Well, I don't know about better designs. The design is in the eye of the beholder. Whatever you like is what you're going to buy. But this is a badass knife. I love it. My buddy Bob Bieschke turned me on to this one too. Yeah, I got one of my hawk talons on the end of it. That's spiritual stuff. Let's see what else we got. Let me look at the time here. Yeah. Here's one. This is a CFK. I call it the CFK Bushcrafter. This is a very well designed, very comfortable palm swell. Fills up your palm really well. Very comfortable. I love this knife. It's 5/32, I believe, or 3/16 maybe. This is a nice knife. CFK is what I call the working man's knife company. They are custom knives, stock removal, but every single one is hand finished and different. And I haven't had a bad one yet. I haven't rolled an edge, I haven't chipped an edge, I haven't bent a blade. They do very well for the prices they're asking. I think this knife you can get for 80, 90 bucks. Very nice. As opposed to 200 from another custom maker or whatever. This is the working man's knife company. If you don't have a lot of money, got a lot of kids in Catholic school, or you know your money is real tight, check out CFK. You might find something you like. I stand behind some of their blades. A lot of them I don't like. A lot of their designs just aren't for me. But the ones that I like, I haven't had any problems with. And this is one of them. Saber grind. Put a nice edge on this. It'll feather stick. Do anything you want. There's that one. I want to show you guys one more knife. And then I'm done with this video. That'll be a lot of my knives. Not nearly all of them though. I got like 300 knives. It's crazy. This knife here, and I made the sheath for it. It's actually mine. Was made by Austin Kennedy. He's a 16-year-old knife maker. He's on Meeting of Prepared Minds forum. There it is. Austin Kennedy. He sent me this as a gift to test it out and, you know, put it through its paces and whatnot. This is a nice knife. He did very well. It's differentially heat treated, meaning the spine is a little softer than the edge. So the spine, you can beat on it, beat on it, beat on it. It won't chip or blah, blah. But the edge is nice and tight. You know what I mean? It's got a secondary edge bevel on it, probably 20 degrees inclusive. Because I think I changed it. Probably came with a 25 inclusive. I think I changed it to a 20 degree. I love 20 degree edge bevels. That's a good woodworking all around edge bevel. Okay, Austin Kennedy. It's a beautiful knife. Absolutely beautiful. For a 16-year-old guy, you know, a young man, I think he knocked it out of the park. He made this micarta himself out of like jean material. He did a good job, and it's nice and grippy. It's not slippery. It stays in your hand. It's comfortable. I like the knife. 01 tool steel. I'm pretty sure it's 01. 01 tool steel. Differentially heat treated. 16-year-old kid doing that. Imagine what he's going to do in 10 years. Austin Kennedy. Give a shout out to him. He makes a pretty decent knife. I'm impressed with it. For a 16-year-old young man. Where the hell's the sheath? Oh, right here. So, I keep it because it was a gift. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was long, but at every turn you get to see a new knife, a different knife. This one's for Peggy Gillespie. Peggy Gillespie, I just finished this one. There's that Yellow Hawk click. Not going anywhere. Nice and tight, but not hard to get out. Let's hear it again. There it is. SE tool pouch on the front. I like these. They're wider. You need a big enough knife for me to put this on a sheath though. And the pouch alone is like 30 bucks. They can get a little expensive. It's got a tin in it. You know, a survival tin. So, okay. I think that's it. Here, no, I showed it. Rick Ruckstall. This is the one with the green tech lock. And live fire assembly. This one here is for Brian Downs. Brian Downs did that one. I thought Brian had another one. Brian Downs had another knife. Yeah. Hold on. Where the hell is it? Where'd I put it? Oh, here it is. This is a Dry Creek Forge equalizer. He got this at the Blade Show, Brian Downs. Said, Doug, you got to put a badass sheath on it. So, here we go. There it is. Got a nice 800 grit diamond hone. Combat lock. Combat scallops. That's a badass knife. Sharpened on both edges like a dagger. Got that medieval look to it. Not sure about the steel. Maybe 52-100. I heard Ross uses that sometimes. That. Let me show his axe real quick. I'm not sure who made the axe. I'm not sure, but there's the sheaths I put on it. This one was hard to do. I had to kind of think outside the box with this one because this portion, okay, the mid portion here is too big to put in a press. And you know, it's so sharp that it'll cut my phone. And I definitely can't put it in the you know, that press. Can't put it in one of those either. So definitely can't put it in a shirt press. Alright. Alright guys, that's it. It's Doug Wilson, Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex. Yellow Hawk Custom Outdoors. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.